Are you ready?
Born ready, mate. Born
You
ready.
sure? Because Benji's told me you're a train wreck when you get, you
Bedwood. Yeah, he's just trying to derail me, mate. I'm a juggernaut. I'm ready to go.
Okay. Here we go.
So hence the kind of my love for the Lonely Island guys. Hence the reason the Switch Island. It's also a local landmark in Liverpool. But yeah, we love Nintendo. We love all gaming out there. We embrace the culture and
I lost you. I lost you just
you
for a
lost
minute.
me.
Yeah, just for a
Oh,
minute.
fuck.
Okay, there you go. You back? Yeah. I got you. I got you. Well, no, I lost the. I
Hold
lost the
on.
mic.
It's definitely this cable.
Good. No, I got you nothing at all now.
Okay, hold on.
Now I'm getting something, but I don't know where it's coming from.
Strange. Fuck me. Okay, one sec. I've got a backup. Just let me plug in the audio box.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another special episode of Nintendo Talk E3 Nintendo Predictions. This week I have the master of microphones himself, Mr. Danny Ward from Switch Island. What is up, bro? How you doing?
I'm pretty cool, mate. I'm fantastic. The master of microphones. I like that.
Well, I had to change it because the last time, for those, I mean, you guys don't know this, but total debacle. His microphone shot right at the start. So he changed up the microphones. Guy's like jumping around. He's like grabbing new microphones out of his desk and cables, and it's
Yeah,
amazing. It's amazing.
can't win. Blue Yeti. Never heard of it. Cheap make. God, don't
Listen,
buy
I
that.
have one right
Ter-
here. I have
Awful.
no problems, man. What are you talking about?
Absolute piece of shit.
Well, if you touch it, that's the problem. You don't touch the thing. You leave it alone. See how it's sitting here? I don't play with it. It's there. It's beautiful.
For audio listeners, he's pointing at his microphone when he's saying that. He's not. He's not talking about something a little bit more insidious. It's fine. It's clean.
Well, it's kind of
Keep it clean.
it's kind of the same thing. You like stroking it and stuff. Yeah. Uh, so Danny, let's try this again. So for those that don't know you, where can they find you at? What do you do? All that good stuff.
Yeah, part of a group of guys that really love Nintendo Switch. We're called the Switch Island. So you can find us on Twitter at the Switch Island. Hence the reason I'm wearing this absolutely lovely tee. We love Nintendo content. We're still dipping our toe into YouTube. We do a podcast every week. We've got something called Desert Island Cartridge, where you pick your game that you'd like to enter our coveted exclusive all-inclusive resort. So we've got loads of stuff going on, and it's just a group of guys that really enjoy what we do, and we enjoy the zeitgeist and the culture of things like you do, Bobby, as well.
Thank you.
It's all
Thank you.
all about the culture.
For those that aren't up to speed with everything that Switch Island is doing, man, get yourself, up to date with them. These guys are doing great work. Benji came on the scene. I didn't even know who they really were at first. Like, I had seen them popping up occasionally on Twitter, and then Benji did the rap, and then I was
Yeah.
like, "What is going on here? Who are these guys?" And then I started like looking into things. And I was like, "Oh my god, they're really good, man." So
Cheers, dude.
yeah, seriously, go check out everything they're doing over there. All right, so what? At this point, if you're listening to this, you know what we've been doing here for all this week of pre E3. We've been doing predictions with all different YouTubers and content creators across the board, and Danny stepped in to do one for us as well, and I'm kind of excited because the last time we actually spoke, we got along really well. We had a great conversation. I was on your
Amen.
show, and I wanted
Yeah.
to pay it back and get you over here. As try to get you on the other show. Toby just, man, he doesn't like you guys. I don't know what
I
it
don't
is.
blame him. Yeah. It's like British people, but we're like dogs. If you put us in the same room, we just
Yeah.
go for each other. You can't help it.
Nah, if he's listening, he'll be so mad I said that. By the way, what is with the pink flamingos? I gotta ask this.
Mate, the missus, she just absolutely loves them. So I kind of got the credit for it, but she's fuming now because whenever anyone gives me any credit for the pink flamingos or tags me in something flamingo about, she's like, I did that. I picked the wallpaper.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, that's it's just it. Like literally, the wallpaper got spotted on a picture once, and then that got stuck with me. So
Oh boy. Oh boy.
it's worse things to be associated with.
Man,
Bobby,
this is true.
you know?
This is true. This is true. Okay, so let's jump into this. Let's get started. Your first prediction for Nintendo at E3 2019. What do you got for us?
So I'm kind of backing this up a little bit as we did our prediction show a week ago. We recorded it the day after my prediction started to get a little bit of ahead of steam and started to seem like it was going to get announced, and it's The Witcher 3. So I think it makes sense to me with CD Projekt Red, doing a lot with Cyberpunk, really trying to bring that out, and I think it's going to be absolutely huge at E3. I think they're going to have a little bit of a red herring with The Witcher and throw that onto the Switch. You do see a lot of people justifying, going, well, the Switch isn't as powerful as the PlayStation or the Xbox or PC. How the hell is Wild Hunt going to play on there? But I don't know. I've seen some absolutely stupendous games played on that console now, so I've got a lot of confidence that really can come over there. And mate, it's, in my opinion, the best action RPG as well of our generation currently. So it's I can see that on a Nintendo console.
So I tried the game once. I believe I tried it on Xbox. Can't remember, and I wasn't really digging it. But to be fair, at that point, I had never played an open world game before. Same thing happened to Fallout. I tried Fallout and I just didn't get the gist of it. But after Zelda, I really started to go like, okay, I get the idea of what an open world game is now. Like now I finally understand how everything works, how the systems kind of work. Now don't get me wrong. I'm sure everything's not perfect with Zelda the way it goes, but it opens it up a little bit. I know that for 2 years prior to the Switch, when Witcher 3 was huge, everybody said like, this is what the next Zelda needs to be. Like this is the crux of how good this game is.
Sure.
People that love this game, and they sing its praises all over the place. So for me, I'm kind of hoping this is legitimate. We have seen the leaks, we have seen the rumors. They just really fired up again. It was probably 3-4 months ago they started to hit like a couple, but it died pretty quick right after that. And then now it's firing up again just before E3. And what scares me is, this happens all the time at E3, where you start to get these rumors, these grumblings, and it's like, is it legit? Is it not? This is one that I hope does come to fruition. I really hope this one happens.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if, I guess it's a little different than Mario Rabbids, but if you remember when Mario Rabbids leaked a month or so before E3. True.
It's a great point.
But then Ubi just came out and was like, here it is, boom, this is what we're doing. They started showing off pictures, and this is legitimate. And then they didn't do that. They just basically said, like, we'll have it at E3. And then at E3, Miyamoto comes out and they show it off, and it just, people lose their minds when they see it. I don't think the CD Projekt Red can do that with this, because we know what Witcher 3 is. I think what is the biggest thing is, one, who is doing the port job for it?
Sure.
And two, what's it going to look and play like?
Yeah.
Because they're partnered with Warner Brothers, correct?
I think so, yeah.
And they scare me, Warner Brothers, because they don't do the best of jobs of putting games on consoles. And they don't, like if you remember Arkham Knight, that game was trash on PC.
Yeah, terrible.
And they never even went back and fixed it. They just let it go. No. So that would be my fear, is that the game is bad and nobody fixes it. But I would think that CD Projekt Red would be like, no, we're going to fix this. This can't be the way it is.
I think the kind of way I'd always phrase it, and just to kind of put people across what my personality's like, is quite akin to yours. I'm positive about games, full stop. I want to be super hopeful, and again, if people don't like this game or don't get it originally, like you said, you didn't originally understand it or feel it was right for you, whatever moment in time you were playing it.
Yeah. It's
the reason I ask the question every single time we do the Desert Island cartridge of, why is this game so important to you at this time? And certain games, just if they don't hit, they don't hit. Whereas The Witcher 3, for me, it hit at a point where very new relationship. We'd moved to a different city in Leeds. We were working away together as a couple. and I put like 500 hours into that game. I'd never done anything like that. It got me back into gaming ostensibly.
Wow.
So it was huge. It was huge for me personally, and it just the music, the environmental storytelling, the narrative behind it, and the quality of the subquest, Bobby, like compared to any other game, it blew my mind. So that's kind of like a precursor of why I'd love this game to be on there. On the points of it playing like crap, I completely get it. People's concerns. I've seen many haven't played it, so don't 100% know, but seen quite a few screen caps of Saints Row. You know how that's playing at the moment, and that doesn't look like something that would appeal to me.
Yeah.
Especially when you have got so many great games now running so smoothly on the Switch. So,
But see,
I'd have my concerns.
But here's the one thing I want to say is this, because people are really bagging on Saints Row, and let's be fair here. It's an old game. There is no reason in the world why that game should not run smoothly on the Switch, other than the fact that we have lazy developers. And 100%. I won't give them a free pass at all. They just basically looked at that as a cash cow. Let's push this on there. There's nothing like a GTA. This game was always referenced to be like a quirky GTA. We're going to put it out there and see what happens. There's no reason why that game shouldn't be running well. It was a PS3 game. There's no reason why. Every game that's been a PS3 game has ran fine with no problems. So it doesn't make sense to me why A, it's not running well, and B, why people would be even like look at other games and go, I think you need to look at the quality of the developer. Like I said, Warner Brothers scares me, but CD Projekt Red doesn't at all. So I think it all depends on who does the port, and like if Warner Brothers hires a studio to do the port, it makes me a little nervous. But if CD Projekt Red is overseeing the whole thing, kind of takes a little pressure off to go, okay, they're probably going to make sure they do a good job. Now, I remember watching a documentary about this game and the lore in the towns. Like, they had stuff as far as, like, they put stuff in the buildings that, like, if you don't go into some of these buildings, you'll miss story that's like so deep, and it makes the game deeper than any other game ever. So it intrigues me. It does intrigue me.
It's just a cool game, mate, and I think it's one of these things where it's not to everyone's taste, and sometimes you do get a group of people that don't want to play something because it is super popular as well. There is that kind of clique of people who, I always think of the guys at school where they had their favorite albums because they were super niche.
Yeah.
And as soon as that became popular, it was like, I don't fucking like them anymore. This was kind of like what The Witcher 3 was for people. It was too popular. I think it kind of, it's not certainly done very, very well from all the Game of the Year editions that it has. But even the quality of the physical release of this game came with a map inside of it. It came with a one of the old fashioned manuals justifying it. It was just super high quality, dude. It was if they can bring that over, give it the same love and attention, it'll be like absolute smash hit.
It'd be awesome. Okay, what is prediction number 2?
Well, mate, I don't know if you know, but I'm a pretty big Persona 5 fan. Now, with Persona 5S, let's not talk about that. Persona 5 Royal coming to the PlayStation 4 again. Obviously, we are getting this. I never remember the name of the game. Scrabble or Scramble or whatever it is, but it's like the Misu kind of. Is it Misu?
Yes.
Where it's like Dragon, whatever. So we're getting that game. I still think we're going to get Persona 5, and I still think it will be at this E3 that it's announced.
Okay.
My theory behind that is everyone's dismissed it, and if they do bring it out and it's a shadow drop, it will sell an absolute bucket load. Joker's in Smash. You've got, like I said, Persona 5S coming. Like, why won't this game come over?
Yeah.
So that's my prediction number 2.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because I don't know a whole lot about this whole thing, this whole Persona thing. So, Persona 5 Royale. Or Royal, whatever. What is this game? Is it Persona 5 with some added content, or is it something different? Like, what is that?
I don't think we fully know yet. It seems to have been intimated by the recent Japanese kind of announcements that it's going to be the original game kind of with some additional content, maybe with a new female protagonist as well.
Okay.
Or potentially antagonist, we don't know. But yeah, it's just kind of the original game with a load of stuff heaped in there. It's like definitive collection.
Gotcha. So which version do you think Switch gets? The original or this version?
I think we get the original, and I think not many people realize that it actually came out on the PS3 as well.
Yeah.
in tandem with the PlayStation 4. So this thing can definitely run on the Switch. You know, but again, if we're getting a poor version of Saints Row, we can get a relatively decent version of Persona 5. So yeah, I think we'll probably see the PS3 version come over minimum.
And let's be fair, RPGs don't they're not hogs. They're not eating up the console. It's
No,
more
not at all.
like, you know, as long as the cutscenes can run well, and let's be honest, like if you've seen some of the cutscenes, like dude, I'm playing Assassin's Creed 3 on the Switch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude, it runs good. It
I'm not
runs and plays
surprised.
good.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you what, the cutscenes are fantastic.
yeah.
You know, so there's no reason in the world why a game like, you know, an RPG, you know, a
Mm.
JRPG can't run on the Switch. There's no reason in the world why it shouldn't. Um,
Mm.
what is it like? What is it about this game? Like, have you played previous Persona games, or is this your first game, or what is it?
I played Golden,
Okay,
Persona 4 Golden on the Vita,
Vita,
I
yeah.
think. So I played that. Played about half the way through. With Persona 5, I think the best kind of way is stealing a phrase from Andrew Goldfarb, from IGN,
Yep.
or previously of IGN.
Yeah.
He kind of said this is the definitive JRPG, whereas others have become very action RPG, like Final Fantasy 15,
Yeah.
and we've got quite a few others out there very akin to that. Persona 5 doubled down harder on the JRPG tropes and just kind of came through with this pristine, well executed, slick game.
Yeah.
Made this game as stylish as fuck. It's so cool to look at.
Yeah.
The music's amazing, the characters are incredible. The storylines are a bit risky and quite adult, but I really like that.
Yeah.
It's a great example of a JRPG.
It's yeah, it's everything that I've heard, and I love Goldfarb. So
Yeah, man.
he praised it, and I wanted to play the game, but I'm not a big PS4 guy, and I don't know. I've when it comes to JRPGs, I don't like just being forced to sit in front of the TV.
Sure.
I like the ability to kind of maneuver a little bit. Like a lot of the JRPGs that I did play that I enjoyed more of were on the 3DS, just because I could grab like Bravely Default. Man, I dumped a lot of time into that game
Yeah.
because it was so good. You know, I grew up playing JRPGs. Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy 2, 1 on the NES. You know, Chrono Trigger, which isn't a JRPG, but it's kind of JRPG esque. It's
Mm.
more action esque to some degree. But like these are the games that I grew up on,
Mm.
and I there's times where I crave them so bad. It's why when Octopath came out, I was like, I am in. Like, get me
Yeah.
in here, let me play. Um, so a game like Persona, which everybody raves about how good it is, I would love to just spend some time and check it out. I did like Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yeah.
And when I talked to Sean the one time, he was like, "That's a lot like Persona. They just put their own twist on things and change it up a little bit." But he goes, "It's not identical to Persona." He said, "But it gives that feel and that vibe to it." And I enjoyed that game. So for me, it was like, well, hell, if I can, you know. But again, what stopped me from playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions was being stuck to the TV and not being
Yeah.
able to get up and move, and you know. And the worst thing about being stuck to the TV is if you go away on vacation, you're done. Like, forget
Oh yeah.
about it. You know what I mean? Like, you come back, you don't know where you are. You can't remember the story. Like, it's just, it's bad, you know? So, I don't know. Hopefully this does happen. I would love to see this one happen. And, I mean, there's got to be more to Joker being in Smash than just this stupid Hyrule Warriors type game that's coming. You know, you
Yeah.
think, right?
I just think it's the ultimate magic trick. I think they've kind of
Oh,
taken
could you
away a
imagine?
shitload of fans'
Yeah.
hope, and then all of a sudden, they release this thing at E3. I think it's just a perfect fairy tale as well for those that actually follow the series. So, man, it'd be super cool if it comes. Then I'm probably gonna have to buy about 50 copies for people because I need to force people to play this game.
Is it now? Here's my question though, because I've heard this too, that like Persona games have some type of tie to Sony and like exclusivity. Is that like? Have you heard anything to the contrary to that, or
Nothing at all. I think it quite literally was just the announcement of Joker within Smash that's kind of got the wheelhouse turning. So I think from my perspective, if we are seeing that relationship build again between God, I'm having a mind blank between the developer of Persona 5 here, Dan, your favorite game. But yeah, if we're seeing the relationship build again between them and Nintendo, then why wouldn't we?
You talking about Atlas?
Atlas, thank you, dude. Sega Atlas. There we go.
Good Lord.
Oh my God, I might as well just break the microphone again and retire. Yeah, but again, if we're seeing that relationship build up, it seems like the right game to bring over. There is an exclusivity, I think, which is why so many people got caught up on the fact that Persona 5R and Persona 5S, nobody had a clue what it was, and Persona 5S is definitely going to be Switch.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be this Misu game, so I don't know. I still think it'll come over. I still think we're seeing bridges get built, and man, if we can get more Xbox games on the Switch, then why can't we get some Sony games as well? So
I think that's a big difference, though. There's now you're like begging, and I don't know, because I just don't see. I don't know. We'll see.
If you know anything about my predictions, mate, all I'll say is listen to my last E3 prediction show, and I got every single one of them right. And I'm still waiting for Ori on the Blind Forest, but I'm still waiting for that one.
Okay. All right. So, what? Okay, what is your next prediction?
I'm going to go for a really tame one for you, so we can kind of discuss why. But I'm going to go for Shovel Knight 2. It is, remind me of the developer, because I'm just having a mind blank tonight.
Yacht Club.
Yacht Club, thank you very much. So Yacht Club absolutely love Shovel Knight. They love their IP. They've said in the past that they want this character to be as big as Mario, and they want that kind of they want to build and build and build and build on that kind of franchise. So the reason we got an amiibo, is because they love this character so much. The attention to detail. We're getting free content all the time. We've had Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, what was it, King of Cards. We're getting content all the time.
Still hasn't been released yet, but that's still
exactly yeah. So I think we'll see more of that at E3, but I also think we'll find out about Shovel Knight 2. And my theory, I kind of said on Switch Indie Fixes podcast the other day, was that they've gone through all of the other characters, that naturally they'll want to go back to Shovel Knight now and start developing more games around him. Yeah. Plus the gauntlet's being thrown down, for a platformer. You've had things like Celeste come out on there, Dead Cells. You've had all these amazing games come out over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Whilst the original Shovel Knight's kind of been out there gathering dust. So, yeah, it's a relatively tame one, but I think that's the type of game we'll see next.
You know what's weird? So there's a couple of things that are just really strange about Shovel Knight right now. So 2 things. One, they put out another set of amiibo. That hasn't been released yet. It's been almost 2 years that I pre-ordered this thing, and it's still sitting there.
Yeah.
With First 4 Figures put out a statue of Shovel Knight. Mm-hmm. They've collected every single payment from me, but the final payment.
Really?
The statue should be done. Like, the statue, they've delayed it, and they haven't said why they've delayed it. And I think it's because they want to wait until the release of the next game. But still, it's like, what is going on with this thing? I think you're right. I definitely think you're right. Well, I do and I don't. I think we get something from them, definitely. There's no doubt. Yacht Club does go to E3 all the time. Sure. I met them at the last E3. Cool. So I think I think we could potentially see something, and I think it might be King of Cards and a final release date. We could get a teaser trailer for Shovel Knight 2. My question for you, though, is, in your mind's eye, what do you see from them with a Shovel Knight 2? Like, do you just see more of what we've got, or do they change things up, or like what's in your thought pattern when you think Shovel Knight 2, what comes to mind?
I think we're going to see incremental improvements to every single major platformer franchise at the moment, because they all seem to be learning off each other. So I wouldn't be surprised if Yacht Club have gone out there and looked at Celeste and kind of looked at the storyline behind it, doubled down a little bit more on the narrative that they've got on their side, and worked a little bit harder, because I think that's the only area where Shovel Knight was a little bit weaker. Could have been improved. It's quite linear. I think we'll see. Again, you're going to get different platforming elements in there, but I think you'll like get more skill trees, maybe a little bit more of an RPG trope. I think potentially upgraded kind of graphics rather than the, what is it, 16-bit at the moment?
It was 8-bit. That was 8-bit.
It's 8-bit. Yeah. So maybe it'll go to 16 or 32. Like the Messenger kind of scaled itself up. But importantly, again, if we get more of the same quality from a passionate group of developers, I'm kind of happy with that. I said the other day, I compared it to how Image and Form got this huge, passionate kind of zeitgeist for SteamWorld and Steampunk as a franchise, and building that into different games. But Shovel Knight, they just absolutely love their key characters. So they can do more with that key character, then I'll be happy.
I would be all for that. I really would. I think that I love that game. I loved Shovel Knight, the original.
Yeah, man.
Like, it was so... I wasn't high on the other ones, though. Like, they were good, but they just weren't great. And I'm hoping King of Cards is a lot better. I think it will be. They kind of going back, and it's almost basically a brand new game. They've kind of gone back, and still the same engine and everything, but they've basically gone back and reworked everything and changed a lot of stuff. Basically, what they did with the other ones was they took different mechanics and slammed them into the same levels. And this one, I think, is similar, but they've also created more storyline and more content and all that stuff. So I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. But I feel like with a Shovel Knight 2, I think you're right. I think they'll kind of deep dive on the storyline. I think that'll happen. I think we'll also get 16-bit graphics. I think they'll upgrade a little bit. I do remember last year when I met with Colin Moriarty and we were discussing, and he was telling me how he's friends with the people at Yacht Club, and he was just like, guys, you gotta move on. Like this, like I understand this is all Kickstarter stuff, but man, get the next game out. Like, this is way too long of a wait.
Exactly, yeah.
And the thing is, though, the thing that blows me away is Shovel Knight still shows up in other people's games. People still get excited. I mean, he's in Smash. I wish he would have been an actual character you could play as in Smash.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But, assist trophy is whatever. It is what it is. But, man, it's just really something special to be like, hey, this is what we're going to have. So, I guess we'll see. I guess in the end, we'll see. What is your fourth prediction?
We're going to argue on this one.
Are we?
I don't know. Maybe. I'd kind of like it.
I'm not Benji. You're not Toby. We're fine.
He loves it. I know. We should get both of them on. Duke it out. Tag team. Master Chief Collection.
On the Switch.
On the Switch.
Nah, you're right. We're going to argue on this one.
Yeah,
There's no way. There's no way.
It's going to be a love fest. All of the Microsoft guys, all the Nintendo guys, they're going to come out. They're going to be holding hands, singing Kumbaya. One of them is going to have a guitar, toasting s'mores, hugging, kissing. No, kissing, a bit too far. And they're going to announce the Master Chief Collection. And that's what's going to happen.
I don't agree. I feel like, okay. So my feeling is that, well, first off, Master Chief Collection is just basically all the Halo, except for...
Yeah.
The last one, yeah. Which I don't think the latest could run on Switch, right? You think?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
But you're saying the ones previously probably could run on Switch. And let's be honest, Halo to me has always been more of like a deathmatch type game, where you go in and you just, so many people versus so many people, and you just go at it and just go, run around killing people. At least that's how it was introduced to me years ago. I think, yes, the marriage is there. There's all kinds of stuff. I heard some crazy stuff the other day that I can't repeat because I don't want to get in trouble. But if it's true, people are going to lose their minds. But that being said, I believe we're getting a lot of cross-pollination between Nintendo and Xbox. I just don't see Halo being the one. I think that there's a chance. Let me back the statement up. I think it all depends on how Hellblade did.
Yeah.
If Hellblade did really well, then I think Microsoft looks at it and goes, okay, we could try to push some mature content to Nintendo.
Sure.
If it didn't do well, then I think they back it down a little bit and they just stick to their guns. We get Ori and we get Rare Replay and we get, I think we're going to get the DLC for Cuphead as well.
Okay.
The one that I think we'll wind up getting Battletoads, and I think they'll announce that we get Battletoads.
Yeah.
I think the one game that's going to be their big pop-off is not Master Chief Collection. I think it's Sea of Thieves. I think Sea of Thieves is the one where they push that one out and go, here you go. Because to me...
Is that Rare as well?
That's Rare.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
For me, that game screams Nintendo. When you look at the graphics and the art style, it's like Fortnite-esque, like in terms of the style of the graphics and all that stuff. So I feel like, of anything, that's more leaning where we go here, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, but I don't see Master Chief Collection. That's just what makes you think that? I want to hear what you think. What makes you even think something like that?
Drugs. No.
Well, that's okay.
A lot of drink.
That explains a lot.
No, neither. I've just got a crying 9-week-old upstairs. That's probably the reason why I'm sleep deprived.
Okay,
lack of sleep.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm going with. I'm visioning here. No, I'm going with the fact that we've got a very forward-thinking new president at Nintendo. Super altruistic, wants to build relationships up, and Phil Spencer's kind of on his last legs in terms of his consoles being a hit, commercially. However, they've lost a hell of a lot of traction in a race against a lot of the Japanese big IPs. Yeah. So from my perspective, I think Xbox need a win, and I also think that Nintendo need a win. And whether or not we see Master Chief Collection come over as part of the Games Pass, or certainly a shortened version, a lesser version of the Games Pass, or we see it in the flesh just as a re-release on Nintendo, it'll run, it'll look great, it'll be handheld and portable. That's something that Microsoft don't really have an interest in. Again, we've seen that relationship with Minecraft. We've seen cross-play between Microsoft and Nintendo with like the likes of Rocket League, and Fortnite. So why wouldn't we get something that is an actual killer and not a filler? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the Master Chief Collection. Personally, I think we will get Ori. I do think that's kind of been nailed on for a while and rumored for a long time. But I'd like to assume that this relationship's going to marry up, and the first baby they're going to bring over will be John. So
it's interesting. I'm not going to say it's not. I think the one thing that people don't see is Microsoft is a giant Trojan horse. They're utilizing what they're doing, and people like. I remember when people were just like, "Well, why would they let Nintendo put their games like this? Doesn't make any sense." Because if you look at the number one game in Japan, or one of the top games in Japan right now, it's Cuphead.
Yeah, completely.
And what do you? And that's a Microsoft game, right? So if they keep pushing these games, right, all of a sudden, Japanese players start to go like, "Hey, this Microsoft isn't that bad. This Xbox isn't that bad," and that's something that Phil Spencer has been fighting for since the minute he took over as president, is to try to get a bigger piece of the pie in Japan. And now he gets some acceptance, and next thing you know, he's not just a pretty face, that Phil Spencer. You know what I mean? Like he's got some brains in there too. So I like his maneuvering and what he's doing. Man, I really do. I think that I really believe that Master Chief Halo is kind of dictated upon by what happened with Hellblade. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Microsoft would love to put that game over there. They've basically showed now that, like, hey, as exclusives, we just don't have it right now. Like, they just, for some reason, they're hitting a wall when it comes to exclusivity. But when they're putting stuff on Nintendo, it's actually selling pretty well. And I think they recognize that, like, let's start to get this elsewhere. And if they're still serious about going, like, service-based, well, then you get games like that on there, and then you could do Games Pass or Game Pass, and then really take over. Like, I think Game Pass is a huge thing for them. And getting on the Switch is a huge thing. I mean, they just announced it for PC. So I think the next logical decision is to go to Nintendo with it. And you need games in order to do it. I don't see Nintendo going like, or like hypothetical. Like I've heard people throw this around and going like, well, Dead Cells is on both Xbox and Nintendo, so Microsoft can make it part of Game Pass and you get it for free on Nintendo. I don't think Nintendo's going to let that fly. But games that Microsoft owns, I don't think Nintendo really has a whole say in it. And as long as Nintendo's getting a percentage of Game Pass, I don't see an issue with that happening for them. But man,
I just think the Switch, mate, it's a nostalgia machine.
Yeah.
So again, if you can be nostalgic over something like Alan Wake in the past, and you really like Remedy, and you really want to play Alan Wake again, then Microsoft have got an IP there that they can give to Nintendo and go, guys, like, you're the nostalgia machine. We're the guys that make PCs. You know, you've got Apple over there where Miyamoto came out on stage and announced Mario Run. Like, it's a different world now, Bobby. Yeah. And I think we're just at the point where, you know, and again, there's a couple of guys in our clan who will hate me for saying this. We're not too far away from seeing device agnostic, like IPs, like Nintendo maybe going, you know what, we're going to be the handheld guys and we're going to stick to what we know, and the Switch is going to be our thing now for like 10, 15 years. Yeah. If you want to bring your games over to us, bring them over, and you whatever your service is, subscription that you guys can do. Vice versa with Xbox might be the console guys, and Nintendo go, well, we're going to license, our own Nintendo kind of eShop or whatever on your console, and vice versa with PlayStation. It's not a million miles away from that, and again, I'm not going to go too deep dive on it, but you see the likes of Uber out there, who are the biggest, one of the biggest companies in the world, and they don't own anything.
Yeah.
They just literally have an app and then lease out an idea to people.
Yeah.
Why the hell won't games go that way in a subscription kind of service way? We love collectors, we're gamers at heart, so you want to keep the tangible side of gaming, but realistically, from a profit perspective, money's king, mate. And I think this is just the kind of way that people are going to start getting into bed with each other. And I think it will be Phil Spencer getting down on both knees at E3 and praying to Nintendo, guys, please give me something.
I just love the idea of these Microsoft games coming over. And the crazy thing is and I've been on record for saying this, Phil Spencer is what's turned me around on Microsoft. And on Xbox. Dude, there was a time when I wanted nothing to do with an Xbox at all. Hated them, didn't want nothing to do with them, never wanted to play their games. They had nothing for me. And now, over the past 3-4 years, Phil Spencer's totally turned it around. I remember one time Phil Spencer congratulated Nintendo on something back in the Wii U era. Yeah. And I said something to Toby like, this is so cool that he did this. And he's like, he's up to something. They wouldn't do that for no reason at all. And in that time, in that era, you could Toby could get away with saying something like that because that was the way business was back then. But I think it showed back then that Phil Spencer was not about grudges and wars and all that stuff. He just wants to make money. He wants to find the best way to make money, and let's go. And I think that's more than evident now, where we are now. So I think you're wrong, but we'll see. We shall see. All right,
I had you. I thought I'd won you round.
There you go. Go ahead. What do you got? What's this is your final prediction, right?
I'm torn on this last one. Okay. I'm torn on it.
What do you have?
Because
what do you have? A couple or you got one?
I've got. I'll tell you what the original was going to be. So the Tomb Raider trilogy, but I think that's relatively safe. I think we will see some Tomb Raider game come.
You think Square will bring the Tomb Raider?
Yeah, Square Enix. I think they'll bring something over. I think they've pretty much ported everything of their major IPs over to Switch.
They're so in love with Switch that I can see.
Yeah, you can see why most of the games have been in the top 20, 30 games on the eShop for pretty much the last 3-4 months since they came out. That's a safe bet. I think the kind of weird one to go for. I think we're going to see a huge update again to Splatoon 2. I think we're going to see the Battle Royale kind of element that a lot of people have mooted for a while. Even though I think a lot of people have heard, that they don't want to actually bring out any more content. That's kind of what want to hang my hat on. We haven't heard a lot about it. It's kind of gone quiet for a while since the massive first party Octopath expansion.
Yeah.
Octoling expansion, was that what it was?
Yeah, Octoling.
Octoling? Octo something.
Yeah,
anyway,
Octo expansion.
Octo expansion, yeah.
I'm torn here.
Yeah.
And the reason being is I just did a video last week on this. And Sean and I, it was actually a topic on if we ran Nintendo this week. What we would do with Splatoon. And our feeling was we would not do an update. We would do a Splatoon 3. We would announce it this year, but it would be for next year. And Splatoon 3, in our minds, is future-proofed to take on a lot of stuff that Fortnite does. The weekly challenges, the buying of gear. Like you can still buy your gear in the store, and you can earn your coins, your points to buy gear in the store, but there would be like specialty things. Like maybe there's a Mario hat that you would actually spend real money on, or just like V-Bucks. Like you can earn V-Bucks for free, but then Nintendo's a little bit better with that. They wouldn't do that stuff. But like even if they did that, where you had weekly and daily challenges where people come back and play every single day. I don't know about a Battle Royale mode because I don't know how... I mean, I guess it makes sense if you did squad-based. If it was just strictly squads. Like you did.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, if you did strictly squads of 4, you could probably get away with it. It would be kind of interesting. I'm not going to lie. It'd be a different mechanic.
Yeah, it depends how many people you've got. If it's 99, then it's not going to work because you're going to be going into cyan and magenta and different colors of ink, which should just be impossible.
Let's be fair. You know what I mean? Like, let's be fair. I mean, I've gone into Fortnite down a person.
Yeah.
And you can last. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause all you got to do is kill one person. If that's the way it is in Splatoon, where it's a matter of it's a death match to some degree, then I think it's okay to do. Because if I want to squad up with 3 rather than 4, and I don't want to fill a slot with a random, it should be okay. I think you should be able to get the people, no problem. I would dare to say that if Nintendo introduced a Battle Royale mode, it would do better than Turf mode and Rank mode for a good time. For a good time. Because I think people would get roped up in that. And I mean, listen, you could do something where it's a tidal wave coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when the Inklings get wet, they die.
Yeah.
So it could be something where there's a water, like kind of like with Battlefield where it's fire. It could be like a water tidal wave coming in.
Like you've already got that dynamic and that aesthetic with Salmon Run. You know, so really, it's not too far departed from what you're doing there in terms of a squad. But 100%, it could be a tidal wave coming in of ink if that's what you wanted to do.
But I think the better, well, in my mind anyway, the better move for Nintendo, and what makes sense too, because Splatoon 1 hit, 2 years later we get Splatoon 2. Yeah. Shooters are more in a 1 to 3 year time frame. That's typically the turnaround for shooters. Nintendo is done with Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
They've already said it. We're not doing any more Splatfest. Like the Splatfest, I think they got 1 more or 2 more coming up, and that's it. They've already said we're not doing any updates. I feel like there's a reason why they're doing a Splatoon 2 tournament. Like, that doesn't make sense to me if you're not going to do something or make some type of announcement, something, whether it's an expansion or whatever, something has to happen there. It just doesn't make sense to me that they would just do a tournament. But, because was it last year? When did they announce the Octo? That was last year, wasn't it? And it was during the tournament, I thought.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was during the tournament. They came out and said, hey, we got this expansion. Boom, done. So I really feel like there's going to be something. And I think it's go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's a dartboard. I think you've got about 30 different things that Nintendo probably want to drop the mic on.
Yeah.
Because, again, super forward-thinking president, he knows that he needs to get the internet on side on this. Yeah. That's the reason why we got the Smash reveal the way that we did. where it literally just blew everyone's minds. That's why we got, Animal Crossing announced in the way that we did. The Final Fantasy games during these directs, they're building up and they're building up and they're building up, and it's just working for people. So I think they're addicted to that now, and that kind of that hype. So it could be one of about 30 things that they drop the mic on, but I can see it being Splatoon. And I agree with you, like Splatoon 2 is probably a bit far-fetched. Maybe I'm just being a bit cheeky with that one, but if it is a Splatoon 3, you never know.
Because I think the thing is you want to get to a Splatoon 3, because I feel like Nintendo is leaving so much money on the table with the capabilities of what Splatoon is. I'm not saying you steal everything from Fortnite, but man, they do a lot of stuff right.
And absolutely.
The ability to get people to go back every single day, nobody does that like Fortnite. Nobody does it like Fortnite. Like, people will literally just go turn on their consoles just to see what the new outfit is. And they all go on at 8 o'clock at night to see what the new outfit is. Like, what? Like, who? That's unheard of. So for me, the one thing is you could build experience and all that stuff, experience points around other things than just turf war. You could build it, or rank play. You could build it around, like, hey, swim in the ink or stay submerged in the ink for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and you get so many, like, it pings, just like in Fortnite. You know what I mean? Like, swim up the wall in this level. Boom. You do it, you get the ping, it clicks off, done. There's so much that they could do with this, and I'd be excited for it. I really would be. It'd be so cool to be like, hey, you can unlock these things if you play rank play, or if you play Salmon Run, because that's the other thing too. Nintendo could have the ability to put some of these achievements based on different things.
Exactly.
Like kill someone with a bucket in rank play.
Yeah.
Done. You know what I mean? Like, and it would also get people utilizing different weapons. So that way, because I feel like if you can get people to get out of their comfort zone, it opens that game up more, I remember when Splatoon 1 played, I played with one weapon. That was it. Then I switched over from the roller to the arrow spray, and I was like, that's my weapon. That's it. I'm done. And then when I started playing Splatoon 2, the arrow spray, I was getting smoked on. Yeah. And I switched to the NZAP. And it was like, okay, I got my weapon now. I've recently gone back to the arrow spray, but still, it's when you get out of your comfort zone, you start to realize you could do different things. And I think, absolutely, they could do a lot of stuff with that game.
There's so many moving parts to Splatoon 2. However, there's still a lot of common sense things that don't apply to that game, which due to other similar kind of team-based, squad-based shooters.
Yeah.
So you can't jump in as a squad into some games.
Yeah.
Like, it still baffles me that you can't play with friends in the way that you want to.
Yeah.
You're still waiting for that kind of random, turn to come when you're all on the same team. I do like that now, but at the time it was very frustrating.
Yeah.
So for something that, again, has so many different moving parts, like, you can see where the value is going to get added with the next iteration. So I'm excited to see it, and I think it's the right time for us to see it as well. I think Mario's kind of having its day at the moment. Super Mario Maker. I think Zelda's, obviously, we've got God knows how many different Zeldas probably on the horizon, or C-Rex, I should say, at the moment. But I think Splatoon's probably the next IP that'll get refreshed.
Okay, question for you, because we got a little bit of time left.
Let's do it.
Just throw some random stuff out there. What is, like, do you think, the big final announcement for E3? Like, what's the one more thing?
I don't think it'll be the Microsoft relationship. I don't think it will. I think there will be a new console. I think it's been widely reported. Wall Street Journal, have pretty much had it nailed on now for the best part of a year. That we're probably going to get the smaller version of the Switch. And then eventually a higher powered Switch within the next year or two.
And you think, even though Nintendo said we're not bringing hardware to E3, you think they'll still announce it?
I just think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors at the moment with Nintendo, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Oh, no, I agree.
Mate, it's a company that brought out cardboard earlier last year and made money out of it. So, if they're telling fibs about whether or not a new console iteration's coming out, it's probably because they're going to bundle the next Pokemon with, or a smaller version of the console with Pokemon. But I think I don't know whether or not we'll see anything of town, but I've got a real good feeling about that game. It was announced last year at E3, I think, if I remember rightly, but because it's Game Freak and because Pokemon's pretty much going to decimate anything within the space, even though 1 or 2 months, because is it December Pokemon?
November.
Is it November? So anything within 2 months of that, Game Freak aren't going to bring out another game, so I don't think Town will get announced, but I think that's huge. I do think it'll be the console. I do think it'll be hardware. In terms of games, I'm not sure.
Do you think that? So what we have right now, we have a lot of solid games.
Sure.
Do you feel like Nintendo? How many games do you think Nintendo talks about for 2020?
At least half of the conference, I think, will be 2020 games.
You think they'll go? You think they'll go half?
Oh yeah, man. We know enough about what's coming out this year. I think we don't know anything about 2020, and I think we were in the same situation last year at E3.
Yeah.
And that's worked for them, man. So why wouldn't they replicate that again this year?
Yeah. I hope that we get. I mean, I would like that. Don't get me wrong. Because my feeling is this: everything we know about Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, Pokemon, Link's Awakening, everything, Astral Chain.
Yeah.
Don't spend time on those things.
Oh, yeah.
Show me them, get them off the screen, because you're going to be all over Treehouse Live. We know this already. So save that stuff for Treehouse Live and get me through that stuff. Show me some stuff that I don't know. You know, some things that are going to hype me up and get me excited that I don't know.
If it's just banger and banger and banger like they did last year, where it was just they were announcing game and game and game, teaser, I'd be 100% happy with that. Again, if it's some rehash stuff in there, a couple of re-releases, Metroid Prime trilogy, games like that, then I'd be super, super happy with it. If they're 2020, I'd be happy with that as well. Just give me an idea of what's on the horizon. Just so I can fanboy a little bit at this E3, because that's the best part of last year. Was just fanboying at the end of it.
What do you think Ubisoft is working on that's Nintendo related?
I think we'll get a Far Cry port. I think that's a safe bet at some point. I don't know which one we'll see. Maybe 5. I think 5 could possibly run. Gorgeous looking game. In terms of what they're using in terms of their franchise, I don't think they'll move away from Rabbids. They gave that franchise, or they gave Mario a lot more care and attention than the studio that did Mario Tennis. So, why wouldn't they continue with Rabbids? I'd actually be quite interested to know which one sold better. I need to go and do my homework there. I'd like to see them probably take ownership of one of the sports games and include Rabbids in there as well. So whether or not they did Mario and Rabbids Tennis or Mario and Rabbids Soccer, Star Strikers was it, I think, originally, Mario. I'd be super, super happy with that. Just something quirky within those two franchises, because, man, I really loved the Rabbids game. It was absolutely amazing.
It was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Super, super cool game. Again, a lot of people would say, strategy fans, that it stood up quite well to the likes of XCOM. So, I'd happily let them do a sports game. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Other than Doom and the new Wolfenstein game, do you think Bethesda brings anything else to Nintendo this year?
I said Fallout 4 last year, and I got that wrong. It's one of the few things I get wrong in life, Bobby. It's predicting what Bethesda are going to do. I think potentially we get a Fallout 3 remaster, because, again, super game, great game. We've had Skyrim. I don't know if we get Elder Scrolls Online. Again, I'm not too sure if that performs too well, but yeah, I could see Fallout 4 coming. I don't know what else Bethesda would bring. I think they're kind of leaving they need to move away from the current engine, so I'm not too sure whether or not they want to bring up the past too much at the moment. And show some of the high tech stuff that they've got for the next iterative consoles that are out there. But I don't know, man. Bethesda's a bit of a weird one for me. You might be closer because you're in the same country as them.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought Fallout 4 was going to come as well. I really did, and it didn't happen. And then I really thought in my heart, with them doing Fallout 76, that they would do Fallout 4. Which I haven't heard anything about Fallout 76 anymore. Like,
No, not at all.
do people play it at all anymore? I don't know.
I think it's improved.
Yeah.
I think, again, it just seems like a familiar story where these massive multiplayer online games come out and then the hot trash to begin with, and then they get these iterative updates and they seem to improve and the quality of life improves. But
Yeah.
if you're paying out God knows how much for a game at upfront cost, and then it goes down to a fraction of the price within a month, which is just classic Bethesda.
Yeah.
That's fucking wrong. That's not
Yeah.
cool. I think why punish the early adopters and your fans with that kind of thing? So I'm not Bethesda's biggest fan at the moment for that reason. Just because they don't really show a lot of courtesy. I don't like how they treat journalists as well. A lot of their games, journalists don't get until at least a day or two before the embargo's up, meaning that there is no reviews out there in the wild, and meaning that as a consumer, I'm not going to be very well informed by my outlet of choice or my influencer of choice. So I don't know. I just think the way that they're kind of holding their fame at the moment is a little bit at the behest of the quality of journalism and also consumerism. So I'm not the best, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it'd be cool to see something. If 76 improved, then bring it over to Switch. Let's see if people enjoy it. But if there's a Switch tax imposed on it, then I'm going to have another rant at you, mate.
You know they're going to. I mean, that's just what it is. Yeah. We always pay more. Final question I'm gonna throw at you.
Go for it.
Square showed off Final Fantasy VII Remake during the last State of Play, and then they specifically said find out more at E3.
Yeah.
Do you think it's coming to Switch?
No.
You don't think at all?
No, not at all. I don't think so. I think it's going to run. If we were going to get anything, I would imagine that we get 14, and I'm stealing that off Pete's suggestions last year, just because he thought massive multiplayer online game again, really popular, great install base, still got very active players out there. Why wouldn't they bring it to Switch, especially when it's not the prettiest game in the world? People are going to argue with me about that. Sorry, guys. I know people probably love the art style, but I don't. Huge for them. I can't see us getting 15 in terms of the 7 remake. I don't even think that's a 2019 game. So I wouldn't. And again, I don't like the idea that they're moving so far away from the original JRPG kind of trope, and they're moving back into that Final Fantasy 15 style. So I don't know if I'd want it on there. I don't know if it doesn't feel like a Switch game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd rather see something like Nier. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
And I know it's not Square, but yeah. Yeah, still.
What about Kingdom Hearts? You think that's gonna make its way or no?
Like Kingdom Hearts. I could see us getting a 1.5, 2.5 remix. I could see them possibly coming over. I don't think we get 3. I played it on the PlayStation 4, and after playing it for about an hour and a half, I realized like that was a game for 10 years ago. It's being too far departed from number 2. That I think even the develop again, they've had iterative and 0.5 and God knows how many different names in between it all, and on the 3DS, etc. Dream Drop Distance, I think it was, but it's too far departed now from 2 for the story to actually make sense. So it just completely lost me. So I wasn't interested, but. Yeah, I think Kingdom Hearts it's a good IP. People are really fond of it, really like the Disney idea, but now that's moved away from Final Fantasy as well. I'm not really interested. Yeah, not really cool.
So that is all. That's all we have for today. Danny, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was a lot of fun, man. I like this one.
Yeah, pleasure, dude. And congrats again to you and Sean on the Patreon. Meant to say that before, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Thank you very much.
Seeing brothers do well. I love it. Absolutely love it.
We're very humbled by the support. It's pretty awesome.
No, you've got really cool supporters, man. Really cool supporters.
Real quickly, before you go, tell people where they can find you at.
Right. Well, you can find us on Twitter. We're at The Switch Island. You can find us on our website, which is theswitchisland.com. We've also got youtube.com/The Switch Island. You can see where this is going. I'm on Twitter at DannyWard2707. Really humble group of guys, all really into games. We don't advertise on our site. We don't advertise on our podcast. We do have a Patreon, but again, get to know us first from our side of things. But we just love engaging, and I mean that sincerely. You do find a lot of people on these kind of sites and these Twitter things, but we took a lead from yourself, Bobby, and I think we said this last time, where we want to just talk to people that are really into the same things that we are. Group of 30-year-old guys, all kind of middling around of, we were super fond of games when we were growing up, and we got that nostalgia for it. So in the UK, and Toby might be able to back this up a little bit. I don't know where Toby lives, whether or not he's got a group of mates that are not akin to ours, but it's really hard to find people that are super into gaming in the UK. So the fact that we're all together via the internet in different places makes it super, super cool, especially
That's
when
awesome.
where they're engaging elsewhere. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
You can check me out, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.